What's up, Desktoppers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and I am back with Michael Galley for another episode of a weekly bodybuilding breakdown. But this one's a bit different. So we're doing the 2020 Desktoppies. So that's basically the Bodybuilding Award Show that I'm basically inventing. The people don't win any prize money or anything like that, but basically it's just a way to acknowledge who's been the best rookie of the year, female athlete of the year, the most improved bodybuilder of the year, guru of the year, bodybuilder of the year. So we've got a ton of different categories. We're going to have 4 nominations per category. And then I'm going to send this out to industry experts and people that are highly respected in the industry and that are respected in the industry, and even some people that are maybe a little bit controversial in the industry as well. Get their votes. I'll let you know who has voted on this as well, and then I'll deliver results next week or later on this week in another weekly bodybuilding breakdown with Michael Galley. So Mick, let's get into it. What do you think about the idea of this concept?
I think it's a good idea. We've put together quite a few good. Hey, I've got a bit of a backdrop happening this time. I've got the American flag, which I've had in this house the whole time, but I've been here 1 year now, or 1 year, 2 days ago. So I thought I'd show a little bit of the American flag in the background. There you go.
Differentiates us now. So there's an Aussie in the US and then an Aussie in Australia. So yeah, let's get straight into it, Mick. And we're going to start with the rookie of the year. So we've got to get it down to 4 names. And I think we pretty much have a consensus at this point. So we've got Mark Hector, who, I mean, both of us are a massive, massive fan of Mark. So let us know what you think about Mark Hector.
I thought he was fantastic as well, mate. The first time I saw him up there, great physiques, tiny waist, good muscle bellies. Just needs to bring those legs up a bit more, but he's definitely got a good future ahead of him.
Absolutely. And his pro debut was at the British Grand Prix as well. He placed 3rd, didn't he? Was it 3rd?
I'm going to say 3rd, but yeah.
I think it was. We'll go 3rd. I'm sorry, Mark, if we got that wrong. Hunter Labrada, now obviously a massive rookie season for him. Wins the Tampa Pro, which is his pro debut. Goes on to compete in the Olympia, places 8th. He's definitely going to be hard to beat. I mean, he really looked like he could even be better at the Olympia as well. And placing 8th is pretty damn amazing.
Yeah, I thought his win at Tampa, I mean, I was there and watched it. I was up close, was fantastic. And the best thing about that, Hunter would have had a hell of a lot of pressure coming to that first pro show with his name, all those expectations on him. So that made his win even better. And then again, I was at the Olympia and saw him there. I thought he was on track to be better at the Olympia, and he was just slightly watery compared to what he was, but awesome rookie for the rookie season.
Absolutely. Nick Walker is another one. So obviously won his pro card this year. It was about 2 months later. He did that Chicago Pro, makes his pro debut, places 4th in a very tough lineup as well, where you had Justin Rodriguez, you had Akeem Williams, both top 10 Olympians. They were ahead of him. So what do you think about Nick Walker's, I suppose, rookie year in the IFBB Pro League?
He looked, well, let's face it, the guy's massive. He wasn't out of place at all up there. And I think everyone that saw him on stage was thinking, wow, this guy's got some serious potential, and he's putting everything into next year. So I think we're going to see some high placings from Nick next year. This year, sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's 2021 now. So, and also I want to mention before we go on too far in this video as well, I'm going to be opening this up to voting from the fans as well. And the fan votes from, I'm going to put it on my YouTube community tab. So make sure you check that out over the next couple of days, and you'll be able to vote in each category. I'll be posting these all up, a few hours in between. So you can check out my community tab when you go to my channel. So you can obviously vote there. That counts as one vote, as like one industry expert. And then also I'll put it on my Instagram stories as well, and I'll open up for voting on there as well. Or I'll do something like that. I'll open up somewhere. I'm just thinking I don't know if I can put 4 people in a poll or something like that, but I think I can. So I'll put it up on my Instagram story as well. And whoever wins on those that counts as one vote as well. And our last of the rookie of the years is Brian Jones. Competed, obviously won, I think it was his pro debut that he actually won, goes and competes in the Olympia in the classic physique and places 5th, which is really impressive. And you actually picked that as well, Mick. You picked him in 5th. So very, very impressive. I think I picked him in like 10th or something. So
most people thought I was crazy, to be honest with you. I back Brian. I think Brian is got a hell of a future in the classic. But yeah, what a rookie year. Wins the Chicago, places 5th in his first Olympia.
Yeah, he's hard to place at the Olympia too, because you go, well, he's tall and sort of like a bit more like a Chris Bumstead. Like, do you compare him directly with him, or do you put him behind some of these shorter guys that are, the top shorter guys? So I think if he can get closer to Chris Bumstead, which is going to be tough over the next few years because Chris Bumstead still has 10 pounds that he can actually add, which is crazy because he's already so far above everyone else right now. So Chris Bumstead, I think, has a hold on it for a fair few more years. But Brian Jones, it seems like these taller guys, if they can be proportioned and balanced, then I think that, you know, they're going to be probably at the top of this class, probably at the Olympia, at least at that level. Now, female athlete of the year. So this is across all divisions. Now, primarily, we don't talk too much about the females on this channel, but I wanted to acknowledge them because there are a ton of female divisions and there's some real standouts for this year. So our first in the category, Sarah Valagas obviously beats, you know, reigning Miss Olympia. What's her name now? I've totally forgotten. Shanique Grant, yes. I was going to say Iris Kyle, and I was like, I don't know why her name's come to my head. I don't know
the listeners out there.
She's retired now for a couple of weeks, so now we've all forgotten.
She'll sue you. She's suing everyone at the moment. She'll sue you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Sarah Valagas obviously beating her, very impressive. Came in outstanding conditioning, like absolutely crazy. So I'm going to put her in there. Sydney Gillen obviously got a stranglehold pretty much on that figure class now, wins her 4th Olympia title, I believe it was. But what do you think about, I suppose, Sarah and Sydney?
I mean, well, hey, at the end of the day, Sarah won. Her condition was ridiculous. So she's the Olympia champion. Sydney, just class. Each time I've seen her compete, it's just class. From the moment she walks out on stage till she walks off, she's the ultimate professional.
Yep. Missy Truscott in the fitness, obviously very impressive, wins the Arnold, wins the Olympia in 1 year, does the double. She really couldn't have done any more. She's going up against, you know, some serious stars of that fitness division, obviously with Oksana Grashina coming back, Wendy Jones obviously being the reigning Olympia champion. She beats both of those and wins the Olympia, so that was very impressive. And then Andrea Shaw in the bodybuilding, came back, won the Rising Phoenix show where she won a car and a ton of money, goes and wins the Olympia where she wins a ton of money. So she's had a very, very good year, and she was not expected to actually win that Olympia, at least before the Rising Phoenix show. So what do you think about Missy and Andrea?
Oh, mate, another 2 star. I mean, Missy, Arnold's in the Olympia. It's very rarely done by any female or male. So that was awesome. And Andrea, great win. She's got a fantastic physique as well. They're 4 outstanding women for that female athlete of the year.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I thought. I thought they were like a clear 4 standout, but then you got like Janet Leung in the bikini. So I was like, I felt bad leaving her out, but I think these 4 were sort of above and beyond probably most of the other girls. Now, moving on to most improved bodybuilder of the year, and we've got a ton of names written down for this one. So I'll quickly go through the names. So we've got Sean Clarita, Big Ramy, Keon Pearson, Antoine Vaillant, Chris Bumstead, Samson Dowder, Ian Valier, and Sergio Oliva. So do you know what's funny, Mick, about these 8 people that we've got written down is 3 of them are actually Canadian.
There you go. How's that funny?
1 Egyptian.
How's that funny?
I think 3 Americans and 3 Canadians. Sorry?
Canadians aren't going to find that funny. You're being racist.
No, not racist at all. No. But let's break it down and decide who we should definitely have in there. Who's a definite for you, Mick, out of those names?
Well, Bumstead. Yeah, he's got to be in that list. I think his look from 2019 to 2020 was night and day. Yeah. Huge, especially in that back double bicep pose. That was just next level transformation. So he's definitely in there.
I would say another one that definitely needs to be in there is Sean Clarita. Now, obviously, Sean, you know, Chris Bumstead just retained his Olympia title, but he put himself so much further ahead of everyone else. Sean Clarita, I mean, he's pretty much put him up for most improved bodybuilder of the last 3-4 years. He's improved so much every single year. He added, I don't know how many pounds it was to his stage weight, but I heard it was something like 8 pounds or something, 9 pounds. So very, very impressive. Came in super shredded. No one picked him to win the Olympia, and he comes in and wins it. So I think Sean Clarita has to be in there as well. Now, a guy that you can probably debate about being in there is Antoine Vaillant. Now, he went from, you know, not really being, I don't think he's ever been in the top 3 of a pro contest, comes in, wins that Cali Pro, brings his all-time best, comes into the Olympia, and I thought he was actually overlooked at the Olympia as well. But I just don't know if I can put him in there over other guys like Big Ramy and Keon Pearson as well. What's your thoughts on Antoine?
I agree with you. Even though he won the Cali, it looked fantastic. And I agree. I think he was overlooked in the Olympia for sure. But when you look at Big Ramy and Keon, I mean, let's start with Keone. The difference he's made into the 212s, that physique, he's just gone next level. The mass that guy's carrying now is crazy. So to think how he's going to look this year at his next show is pretty freaky. And Big Ramy, like we spoke about before the show, he improved everywhere. Condition, the roundness of his physique, but also his posing was 10 out of 10 compared to what it has been at previous shows. He was very, very confident up there. So he was pretty much all rounded improved. Like everything was improved on.
Yeah.
So I think that would be our definite probably top 4 there out of the 8 we've got.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, I just wanted to mention as well, I mentioned them at the start, but Samson Dowda, Ian Valier, and Sergio Oliva all made massive improvements in 2020. Sergio Oliva obviously placing top 5 in that Arnold Classic when I think, he was sort of picked to do pretty well, but maybe not quite to that level. Ian Valier obviously wins a pro contest, makes his way to the Olympia, redeems himself pretty much after Tampa, and then brings his all-time best to the Olympia. And Samson Dowda just missing out on competing in the Olympia by 1 point to Lee Seung Chol, and he went through a hell of a lot in 2020 to get on stage and have his chance to try to qualify for the Olympia. Now, next category, Guru of the Year. Now, this is a tough one because in past years, I've seen where it's been like Chris Aceto's had Sean Roden. He's had, the 212 winner and had a bunch of other guys in the top 10 in the Olympia. This one, it's sort of a bit more spread out. So we'll go through a few of them and highlight some of the top competitors they've got. So Chad Nichols, obviously with Big Ramy, Honey Rambod, Phil Heath, and Hadi Choopan. So 2 of the guys in the top 4 of the Olympia. Abdullah, obviously Mark Hector, bringing him up, and then Brandon Curry finishing 2nd in the Olympia. Oscar Arden bringing Akeem Williams up to 4th in the Olympia. 6th in the Olympia. Patrick Tour had Ian Valier. He had a whole bunch of other guys as well, and even Aaron Pilates, who wasn't actually able to compete in 2020, so you can't account for him. Matt Jansen, who had Sean Clarita. And then AJ Sims, who had Justin Rodriguez, who placed top 10 in the Olympia and made massive improvements. So who are you putting up there, I suppose, Mick, in terms of Guru of the Year based on how their athletes did?
I mean, straight away, you've got to look at Chad straight away. And there's numerous reasons. Obviously, Chad's consistency throughout the last 25 years has been incredible, the amount of champions he's had. But I think with what he's done with Ramy, they were a little off at the Arnolds. Maybe they just mistimed things, as Chad sort of mentioned. They brought it all together for the Olympia and got the win. And most people didn't really, most people were skeptical if Ramy would win the Olympia. So I think what Chad's done there is amazing, and that definitely puts him in that Guru of the Year top 4.
Yeah, I agree. So we're putting Chad in the top 4. Another guy I think has to be in there is Honey Rambod, because he did bring Phil Heath back. Now, Phil wasn't, his best, but I think that Honey only did what he could with, with, I suppose, what he had, like Phil Heath obviously has the midsection issue. Seems like he can't really do too much about it. He was trying to hold it in. He was aware of it this time. I'm sure he worked on it, but I don't think that's Honey's fault necessarily. And that's, I think, the reason why I feel perhaps his back wasn't as blowing everyone out of the water had been in previous years. He maybe wasn't able to lift as heavy and put that stress on the midsection. And Hadi Choopan, the way he looked at prejudging, I was like, okay, yeah, 4th place, 4th, 5th, something like that. The way he looked at finals, yeah, I agree. Like 2nd, that's how he looked. So if he's 2nd to Big Ramy, had Big Ramy not brought it like he did this year, Hadi Choopan could be potentially the Olympia champion if he came in how he did at finals both times. What do you think about Hadi being in that top 4?
Yeah, I think I agree. It was good to see what he'd done with Phil, considering they didn't have a lot of time. And I agree with Hadi Choopan. And if Hadi had got here a few days earlier, remember, Hadi turned up at the last minute. So they had to struggle to get that water off him. Apparently, they lost quite a lot of water overnight to the prejudging. Yeah. So if Hadi had been here 2 or 3 days earlier, would Hadi have been 2nd outright? Probably would have. Yeah,
probably. Yeah. Very, very well, potentially. Like, the only thing I see on Hadi that he needs to improve is his back a little bit in terms of conditioning, but outside of that, everything's there. There. Now we've got Abdullah, we've got Oscar Arden, we've got Patrick Tour, Matt Jansen, and AJ Sims. We need to get 2 guys from that to put into the top 4. Now, what do we think about Matt Jansen? Obviously, bringing in Sean Clarita to win that Olympia, and he's been a constant improver. Does Matt Jansen be placed in that top 4?
You got to definitely with Matt, because not only has he done that with Sean, and he's gradually gotten Sean better since 2016, but he also, let's not forget, he got Nick Walker into 4th place at his first pro show this year.
Of course, I can't believe I forgot that.
And the USA overall win. So I think that's got Matt quite up there. Matt's a good coach, man. I've got a lot of time for Matt. He was actually out here in Dallas, and I missed it. They had a Sean Claridia and Matt were doing a seminar Friday night, Destination Dallas, and didn't. Well, there's no real point to this story at all.
The only reason I'm smiling as well is because you said Sean Claridia instead of Clarida, and Claridia sounds like chlamydia.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you didn't have to say that.
No, I had to though.
We'll just say it's the Aussie accent. It's hard for us to get certain words out properly.
Yeah. It's our accents. So out of the other 4 guys left, we've got Abdullah, Oscar Arden, Patrick Tua, and AJ Sims. Who do you think should be that last guy in there? Because honestly, a lot of these guys are really, really close.
Well, it's your show, so I think this should actually come down to you to decide. That's a tough one, mate, because Abdullah, you got Oscar, Pat, far out. That's
because you got Abdullah's a little bit different to the other 3 guys. So Oscar Arden brought Akeem Williams by far in at his best. Patrick Tua brought Ian Balliere at his best. And then AJ Sims brought Justin Rodriguez at his best. Now, I think maybe the improvements that Akeem and Justin made were a little bit more than Ian's, even though Ian was spectacular at the Olympia. So I'd maybe just slightly put them over Patrick Tua. But then I think it's, you've only knocked one out. So it's Abdullah bringing in Mark Hector, obviously, being one of the rookies of the year, and then Brandon Curry, making improvements on that Mr. Olympia physique. It's just that Big Ramy was there, basically. Do you put that over Oscar Arden and an AJ Sims? What do you think?
You brought it back to me again.
Yep.
After you've said that, I'm sort of leaning towards Oscar a little bit.
Yeah, I was sort of leaning towards Oscar a little bit as well, because I never thought Akeem would be top 6 in the Olympia. Being totally honest, and he well and truly deserved it. He's worked with him literally, I think Akeem drives a massive distance to actually get to train with Oscar every single day. And Oscar just puts his all into his clients. And when I've spoken to Akeem off camera as well, when I've interviewed him a few times, he said Oscar is a dedicated coach, and he's not just about obviously the body, he's about the mind and getting the mind right and believing. Akeem came on my show and he said, I want to be first call out. He said, that's his goal. He wants to be first call out, and he achieved it. So, and that's what Oscar was saying to him. He said, you're going to be the first call out. Kept saying it. And he actually achieved it. And, when Akeem said that, I'm like, okay, that's sort of a ceiling. And he hit his ceiling for this Olympia. So I think that's amazing.
I think we've done well then with Oscar in there for sure. And I'm with you with how you summed it up. I love how Oscar coaches, and I love how he's just in tune with his athlete. And he did that with Kai, if you remember, a few years back. He was everywhere with Kai. So
for sure. And we've got Bodybuilder of the Year for our last category. This is across obviously the classic physique, 212, and open bodybuilding, with probably a slight more focus on open bodybuilding. So we've got Big Ramy. For obvious reasons, he wins the Olympia. No one really was picking him too much. A few guys were, but it's typically that everyone picks, a few people pick Big Ramy for the win, but it's, never sort of even really been too close apart from when he came second. Sean Clarida, obviously making massive improvements. No one picked him to win the Olympia this year. Samson Dowda is a different one in there, because everything he went through, he went into lockdown in Korea, in a Korean hotel, and trained in there. Super motivating, and he comes in second, so he just falls short. And then Chris Bumstead, obviously massive improvements, wins his second classic physique Olympia title, and he won it really in commanding fashion. So Mick, I don't think we can argue with those 4 bodybuilders really. Some people could make an argument that Samson shouldn't be there and someone else should be, but I think Samson was sort of a special story, and what he did this year was, I think, pretty inspirational, and pretty cool what he did for bodybuilding, and the fact that he just kept, persisting. And I think it makes any prep he does in the future really, really easy.
I think that's a solid top 4. You've got to go with the winners. It's obviously Ramy and Sean and Chris. And I agree with you with Samson. And up until when Samson started going through those issues, I followed him, but I didn't really watch all his stories. But I found myself wanting to watch his stories each day when he was in lockdown, and then after that, I just wanted to see what he was going through. So that really showed the quality of that guy. So I think he's deservedly in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be very interesting to see how the fans vote, and how obviously the media and I suppose industry experts vote as well. So I'm going to be sending this out to them pretty much right now after I finish this show. And whoever votes as well, I'll basically be giving them like a shout out and whatever media outlet they're from and all that sort of stuff as well. So I'm going to try to get as many people voting as possible. But guys, you can vote. Head right now to my community timeline. I'm going to have some of the categories up there, but make sure you keep an eye out the next couple of days and you'll be able to vote for your favorite rookie of the year, female athlete of the year, bodybuilder of the year, guru of the year, all that sort of stuff as well. And also check out my Instagram stories. I'm going to be posting up those over the next couple of days as well, and you'll be able to vote. So make sure you check out those. The Instagram is at Desktop Bodybuilding as well. Pretty easy to find. The link is in the description as well. Mick, do you have any final last words?
Did you know Friday night on the Mega Millions here? This just popped in my head. Have a guess how much one person in Michigan won. One person. Have a guess.
180 million.
$1 billion.
That's crazy.
Think about that for like $1 billion.
It's 1,000 million. Think about how much a million is and just having 1,000 of them. Yeah. 1,000 suitcases for $1 million.
You've got two options. If he accepts a one-off payment, all up, it was 700. They'd give him 739 million. Take taxes out, was about 530 million. That's okay. Yep. Or it's a 29-year payment plan. I'd just take the one-off payment and fucking all my mates and family would be set up for life.
I don't know what I'd do, man. Honestly, like, because I feel like if you take the once-off payment, like everyone's probably going to know as well and be like, "Hey, buddy, hey." I mean, even with the once-off payment, you're probably getting tens of millions a year anyway. So, I mean, the gradual payment, you're going to get tens of millions a year. So I suppose it doesn't really matter. Everyone's going to be hassling you. So,
yeah. Anyway. There's my thought of the day.
Yep. So that's not quite as much as people win for actually winning these categories. They actually win nothing. So, but please do vote in the 2020 Desktoppies. Like I said, also comment below who you think should win these categories and did we miss anyone out for the nominations as well. So that's it for me. For Michael Galley and Xavier Wills, we are